The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says it has turned down the 3 weeks extension appearance request made by the nation's former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Umar-Farouq. The anti-graft agency says that the former minister had requested to be given time to attend to her health before honoring the invitation by the Anti-Graft Commission to answer to allegations of misappropriating about 37 billion naira under her ministry. The commission says it will not delay its investigation and urged the former minister to appear within the next 3 days or risk being declared wanted by the commission. To look at this, we are joined by two public affairs analysts, Jide Ojo and Akintunde Babatunde. Thank you, gentlemen, for giving us your time. Let's start with you, Jide. If the former minister's ill health status is to be believed, is the EFCC maybe a bit too strict, insisting on 3 days?
No, Felicity. What we need to understand is that these politically exposed persons always have an alibi why they don't want to face charges. Recall what has happened with successive administration where people come up with all manner of ailments without doctor's report. This part, you remember case with former governor of Ekiti State, former, Senator Dino Melaye. Drama always comes up. They always want the world to believe that they are not feeling fine. Some will say they need to go abroad for medical attention. In this particular instance, I learned that the lady pleaded that she has arthritis, and that's why she couldn't come. But then there was no medical report to support that she has arthritis. And by the way, EFCC said they have the medical facility to attend to her health and that she's just going to be interrogated. She's not going to be detained. So why is she requesting for 3 weeks when it's just a routine interrogation? The other lady, Alima Shehu, if I got it right, who is the national coordinator of the National Social Investment Program, had been interrogated over 2 days period, and now she has been released on administrative bail. So what is Sadiya Farouq, what is she afraid of? Why is she trying to determine when to appear? She's no longer in government, she's now a private citizen. And even as someone in government, as a minister of the Federal Republic, she does not have immunity. So I think this is just an alibi to buy time, and perhaps, and there are insinuations to the fact that she started returning some of this money. I don't know how far that is true, but there are rumors to the effect that she's trying to strike a plea bargain with the EFCC. And perhaps that's why she needed this length of time she's asking
for. Until that becomes...
I don't have whether...
until that becomes official, I guess it will just be mere speculation. I'll come back to you today in a bit. Of what you said, though, I'd like to ask Akintunde, if you can hear me, sir. This is not the first time these high-profile individuals are being announced as wanted for, invited rather, for questioning over alleged fraud cases. Oftentimes, we hear of these investigations, but we don't hear of the outcome at the end of the day. Do you expect that this will be any different? Akintunde, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Did you get my question?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, go ahead then.
First to say that the Nigerian reality just sort of brings a lot of questions when we look at the history of prosecution or allegations of corruption, whether or not it would turn to anything substantial at the end of the day. We've seen, in the past years where past government officials, or even 7 government officials are invited for interrogation. And we just get to hear this in a few days, and by the time you look at what is happening, we've moved on to other things. So I really do think this is an opportunity for EFCC to show us that things have changed, if at all, and and ensure that this current case and every other corruption cases are prosecuted to the very end, so that we can at least have clarity as to where we are going with the anti-corruption fight, because a 37 billion naira fraud allegation should not be a conversation that would just happen on the piece of newspaper or
not to interrupt you, but that figure,
and then we move on to some other things.
Yeah, that figure is also being contested. Not contested actually, but there's an unwillingness to confirm if that is the actual amount that she's being investigated for by the EFCC. But let me come back to you, Jide. The EFCC new chair, Olukoyede, I beg your pardon, has, according to the statement on this matter, put a new system in place such that one can appear before the EFCC detectives and sleep in their home the same day, and has said that there is no need to panic at all. This hasn't always been the case, has it? Should there be trust this time that this new chief in town will put action behind his words?
Just that's secondary as far as I'm concerned. Whether you end up sleeping in your house or you end up sleeping in the EFCC facility or at the correctional center, it's not as important as whether the case of fraud can be proved beyond reasonable doubt, because it's a criminal allegation for all I care. And in criminal allegation, you alleged must prove, and you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. We've been on the case of Alison Desiani Madueke for over 10 years now, since the time of Goodluck Jonathan. And I think that ended about 2015. She's been indicted. The EFCC have declared her wanted, and all of that. Even in UK, she's answering for corruption charges, but she has not been convicted. So, procedural thing, yes, maybe Olukoyede is trying to be more civil and do less of media trial than his predecessors in office. But I think what will assuage the feelings of average Nigerian is whether justice is done and seen to be done at the end of the day. Because this powerful individual eventually evade conviction, given the fact that the sum involved is huge, and they can buy their way through the judicial system. Even EFCC officials have not been devoid of corruption themselves. Some of them are alleged to have been compromised in the course of performing their duties. So, who is watching the watchdog? It becomes a very important thing to float at this point. Whether the EFCC will be thorough, whether this should have even been leaked to the media in the first place, because, like I said, in time past, it's been more of a media trial. In over 90% of cases that are celebrated, you never get conviction. There are many former governors who are alleged to have committed one crime or the other, bordering on money laundering. At the end of the day, a case drags on for 8-10 years, and at the end of the day, there is a conviction at the lower court. The person goes on appeal. The appeal takes another years, and before it gets to Supreme Court, and eventually we have seen all manner of plea bargaining. Aside from plea bargaining, there is also state pardon granted some of these people. So Nigerian justice sector reform beckons to facilitate this whole prosecution in a timeless manner. But coming back to your question, yes, it's okay to accord respect to your suspect, put their mind at rest, allow them to face interrogation. In fact, I don't think the woman needs to even go to EFCC. EFCC officials can go and debrief her at her home.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's bring in Akintunde and just get your impression about this particular case. The way they're going about it. There's a new chief in town. Things are promised to be different. That's the impression we're getting. Is there something about this particular case that instills confidence that there might be a different approach? For instance, the ultimatum, the 3 days appear or we declare you wanted. Even if they declare her wanted, will that expedite her appearance in your thinking? Or she could still find loopholes, like Jide has said, to avoid responding to them?
Right. Thanks. And I think that what is important at the moment is for EFCC to show us that things have really changed. I honestly don't want to be optimistic, because I sort of think that we are used to this tone and this mode. If the new chief and also other officials are saying that the current strategy would be to be civil and to ensure that, if she refuses the invitation and the timeline and the deadline elapsed, then she will be declared wanted. The question is that because we are used to, in Nigeria, we are used to almost no consequence for wrongdoing. We've seen people who have been alleged for corrupt practices go ahead to even contest elections and even win elections. We've seen that happen in the country. So I sort of think that what would convince a lot of us would be an actual evidence that, hey, at the end of the day, EFCC is living up to its expectation, and then they follow this case to the very end. I think that is. I don't want us to sit and preempt and say, oh, we are optimistic. We are not. I really think that EFCC should do its job in the best way possible and ensure that if the alleged the cases, if they are found, if whoever is being indicted is found wanting, then they should face the course of the law. I think that's the most important thing. I mean, in due time, not drag it for the longest time. Let's try and get this done with, and then move to the next person and the next person, and that way we can then start to build confidence in the system. We can then trust government. We can then say, okay, this won't be one of such many cases. I think that's the way to go.
All right. One last question quickly, Jide. Publicity, it seems to go a lot. We hear a lot of investigation come for questioning and all of that. Wouldn't it be better if they conduct their investigation, and maybe when this case is about to go to court, they can announce to the people that this is what we've done, we've investigated, we've questioned this person, and this is what has happened? Or should they maybe have invited her and waited until maybe she flouts it and then issue her that arrest warrant? What are your thoughts about these approaches and maybe a fine-tuning of the process that EFCC uses in its investigations?
Well, for me, I have earlier insinuated that it's even much more it's better for you to have a discrete investigation and have your iron cast evidence before you go public with whatever you have. And this issue has been in public domain for a couple of weeks now. And when you do a bit of media trial, the suspect is pre-warned and can frustrate you. At the end of the day, your old witnesses and evidences, becomes not at the court. So I think the procedural thing that needs to change is, one, let's apply fully the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, which has said that criminal cases should be had within 6 months. This has been a law since 2015. I don't know why even corruption cases last for 8-10 years without conviction. And that is the, under former President Muhammadu Buhari, he did express his frustration with the judiciary and was even calling on the then CJN, Chief Justice of Nigeria, for them to have a special court to deal with corruption cases. As at last year, Nigeria ranks 150 out of 180 countries surveyed by Transparency International, and we scored 24 over 100 on corruption perception index. So there is a need for a paradigm shift, and that's why I'm saying let this be done behind camera, in camera rather. Let it be done in camera. Be discreet. Make your investigation. File the cases in court, and the judicial correspondence can then cover court proceedings.
All right,
not that you start media trial weeks and months before the actual cases will be filed.
All right, Jide and Akintunde, thank you, gentlemen, for speaking with us. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Have a great evening.
You too.